Hello everybody. Today we are going to be reviewing the Hungover games. So this movie was a parody on not only the Hangover games but also uh, the Hunger Games. So I guess that's why they called it the Hungover games. That makes I thought it was the Hangover games, but it's the Hungover games because it's making fun of the Hangover and Hunger Games, which are two. I mean, the first movie in the Hangover games was probably the most superior one, and obviously, I think as the series of the Hangover or the Hunger Games went on, the movies just kind of kept getting better as they went. I mean, the original will always kind of be an iconic film, I suppose, going down the road, for sure, because I don't think nothing had been done like that on that scale when that movie came out. Let's just say that much. Quite like that. I mean, there'd been other like death battle movies, but nothing had been done quite that big. And I can't even remember when that came out. But anyway, so this is obviously following the people and they kind of looked like the cheaper versions of the people from the Hangover games, which was kind of funny. So basically, Zach is, the one who ends up or they went by the real names of the people in the. And I can't remember, did they do that in the actual Hangover games? Did they go by their real names? I don't think so. Did they? I can't remember. Oh my god, if they did, that's actually funny. But anyway, obviously we have Bradley, Tracy, who is so in this movie, Doug and Tracy are a gay couple, so they changed that, I guess. But I guess Tracy was kind of like the same type of person as was her name Tracy in the movie? And I don't even think in the first movie it wasn't even was it Doug that was getting married? I guess it was because that's who they lose, right? So anyway, obviously they end up losing Doug, but in this one it was a little different because when Zach puts the uh, air fresheners or whatever that was supposed to be this berry that ends up transporting them to a futuristic world to fight in these hungover games. Oh my god, there was quite a few people in this movie. So Ross Nathan plays Bradley, Sam Pancake plays Tracy. That's an interesting last name, Pancake. Uh, Penn or Ben Bagley plays Ed, and Herbert Russell plays Zach. John Livingston played Doug. Um, there was Jamie Kennedy, who was in this movie, played quite a few characters. Just Mitch, who was Hey Mitch. Willie Wanker, who I guess was one of the from the Johnny Depp crew. Oh my god, and he played somebody else, but I can't even see who it was. Oh, and Tim Pistol, but I can't even really remember who that was. And then the announcers were Hank Basket played Stephen A. Temple Smith, so we all know who they were making fun of there, Stephen A. Smith. And then Caitlyn Jenner played Skip Bayfleck. And I knew I recognized who she was, but it was like, that looks like Caitlyn Jenner, and it turns out it was. um, and then we had Mark Harley as Thor. There was a whole bunch of people in this movie. Martin Kleba, who was in the Pirates of the Caribbean series, played Frito, I guess. And the main other one, we had the housewife team. There was just so much going on in this movie. They had the two girls from the topless district or whatever, the nudity district, and the one that was the most prominent in this movie was obviously Rita Volk, who played Catnip, and we obviously know who she was trying to play, and that was Katniss Everdeen, obviously. I can't remember what she said her last name was in this movie, but Ed falls in love with her, and the whole premise was just super weird because he's much older than she is, and I guess the night before they were out and they don't really remember what they did, and apparently they did a whole bunch of like insane stuff. I know they were like really trying to push the limits on what happened in this movie, obviously, because yeah, even in the first movie, all the photos and stuff at the end were just like outrageous, and they were the same in this movie, but a little bit more, a little bit more crazy in this one than the actual Hangover movies. But yeah, I guess they human centipeded and did a whole bunch of other stuff. And instead of, I can't remember, were they called tracker jackets in the first Hunger Games movie? Anyway, in this one they were called swagger jackets. So they take away your swagger every time they sting you. So that was funny. So yeah, he ends up falling in love with this, with Catnip. And she is underage, so that is just wrong. Because does Ed fall in love with anybody in the first movie? Or Ed's character, I guess. Does he fall in love with anybody in the first movie? I can't remember. This was so weird because it was like they were actually trying to play the real people, and just funny. So yeah, obviously, even in a futuristic world when Ed's having a dream about catnip and whatever, and then in the dream she goes, "I'm 17," and he goes, "What?" And she goes, "Nothing." And then, I don't know, it just keeps getting weirder with that whole storyline too. And obviously they had, I guess, the guy who was supposed to be playing Chow in the movie just come out of nowhere, and he didn't even really know what was going on during this entire time. And they had, like, they were making fun of the movie Carrie, and I believe The Evil Dead, and they made fun of Taken at one point in time when Bradley calls the wrong guy at the end of the movie at first, when they say that they can't find Doug, and then Doug gets angry at them and throws them back down the chute or whatever and won't let them up, and then obviously the game master says that certain people can survive. Catnip dies eventually at some point after trying to go back and kill Tonto, which was from one of the Johnny Depp teams. There was this team of killer puppets. It was just a huge mess of movies that they were trying to make fun of. Obviously, that was trying to make fun of the Muppets because it was supposed to be Miss Piggy and Kermit, I believe. But Kermit was more like a spider creature. They even had Ted in the movie, like a giant person playing Ted. Um, just such a goofy movie. But yeah, as far as parody movies go, I would say this was probably one of the better ones that I've seen. And this one was kind of done after the whole, I guess, parody movie thing was really even a thing, because Scary Movie was way back in like the early 2000s. I don't even know when the last Scary Movie was, like 2009, 2010 maybe. I think they really like shoved them into a very small period of time, as far as making fun of movies goes, with that. But yeah, this was one of the better ones. I mean, obviously the humor is extremely crude, because I guess they're trying to really push the boundaries on what they could do with this movie. But yeah, honestly, this was probably one of the funnier ones. It was kind of a weird combination, just something that most people probably wouldn't have thought of as making it a funny movie, seeing as they're trying to kill one another in this competition, but it's just they ended up getting transported to this world by accident, and then all of this happens. And yeah, just some of the scenes were extremely awkward, knowing that they were trying to make this catnip girl underage, and he's just continuously trying to go after her, which makes him extremely pervy. Yeah, just, oh god. So yeah, it was awkward watching those scenes, that's for sure, because it's just like, oh my god, dude, she's even Bradley goes, well, unless she's having a birthday in like 5 minutes or so, she's still gonna be underage. So yes, still can't go after her. That would be wrong. And he goes, yeah, but then he ends up meeting the real girl in the real world, or at least they thought. But then when the movie ends, the one guy comes out and says, to them both. May the odds be forever in your favor. And I can't remember who was playing the... he's like the guy who, I guess, changes the rules of the games constantly. But I can't remember who he was. I guess it doesn't really matter that much, but if I could find him, I would. Interesting. Anyway, not super important, but yeah, there was a huge casting list in this movie, but I guess they were kind of all secondary characters compared to the main ones. But yeah, funny movie. If you're, I guess it's a certain sense of humor you kind of have to have in order to really enjoy this movie. But I mean, it's a parody movie, so you're either going to like it or you're not. That's the way most parody movies go. I found this one probably funnier than most of the ones that I've seen in the past. So I did give this movie a 6 out of 10. They got scored really low on IMDb, a 3.5. So I don't know. I guess the general consensus was it wasn't that enjoyable, but I found it to be at least a little bit enjoyable. I mean, maybe some people were kind of, I guess, maybe offended by some of the scenes. I don't know. Yeah, it was just, they were definitely trying to push the boundaries with the humor in this one, for sure. But other than that, I thought the movie was actually kind of good. At least they kind of stuck with the storyline and weren't just all over the place, which is what I kind of maybe figured the movie would be. It was just going to be randomness, but no, they stuck with, like, this is what's happening, and this is who's going to get killed, and there's actual teams and a storyline, and they had to go through the whole sponsorship thing and all that. So yeah, they followed the storyline pretty well of both movies and combined them well enough to make a film, which doesn't happen very often. So yeah, kudos to them for doing that. And that's it for this review. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.